Hi everyone, welcome to our second tutorial on Easybib, in which we're going to cover how to take notes and make an outline using the Easybib Notes and Outline feature. Now in our first tutorial we showed you how to make a bibliography, how to put your sources into your bibliography where it automatically puts it in ABC order. We went over how to use a regular old website, how to do a book, and then if you're using the county databases, which hopefully you are, how to paste that citation in there, because it gives usually most all of the databases will give you the citation already formatted. So as you can see, I've already found all of my sources and I'm ready to take some notes. Now some students like to do this in a different order. Some students like to find one source and then take notes on that source, and then find another source, add another source to their bibliography, and then go take notes. So it's sort of up to you how you prefer, what order you prefer to do it in. I went ahead and found all of my sources. I saved my articles so I can get back to them later, and now I'm ready to do a lot more in-depth reading and finding some good facts that really work for what I'm trying to prove here. So if you want, you can log in and follow along with me, or you can just watch so you know how to do this later. So I'm going to click on Notes and Outline. I'm going to see this gray screen, this gray empty screen that's ready for all of my notes to be inputted into. Now, in some of your language arts classes, you may be familiar with double column notes, or as they call the Cornell note-taking system. This feature here in Easybib is modeled after the Cornell note-taking system, but your notes are going to now be on what we were calling electronic note cards. So each note that you find, each fact that you find that you want to use in your paper will have a separate note card. So first thing I want to do is I want to think about my thesis. I'm not just collecting any facts, I'm finding facts that support my thesis. So over here on the right hand side is where my outline is going to go. And you can see you can actually type in your thesis here, and this can be a workable thesis. Once you do a lot more reading, you may decide to change your thesis. So I'm actually writing this paper for my language arts class, and this paper is about the ideal American. I had to choose somebody that I think shows that they are the ideal American. So I'm going to say that my thesis for now is Abraham Lincoln exemplifies the ideal American because he shows hard work, loyalty, and patriotism. Okay, and this can be something that I change later, but now when I'm reading, I am trying to find facts that support this thesis. So that brings me back to an article that I found on the databases. So I've already cited this article, I've put it into my bibliography, now I'm just reading it, and I'm finding some good facts that I think will support my thesis and prove that he is in fact an ideal American. I'm not just finding any facts like when he's born or what he did. I'm finding facts that prove my thesis, which is what you should always do with a research paper. So, as I'm reading, I see this fact right here. Although it took Lincoln 15 years, he paid off all their debts in full, earning the nickname Honest Abe. Well, I think that that shows that he exemplifies honesty, which is one part of my thesis. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to paraphrase it. So I'm going to head back to Easybib, and I'm going to create a note. So this is what you'll do each time you find a fact that you want to use. So I'm going to give this note a title. Okay, the title is really just for my benefit, so I know what this note is about later on. So I'm going to call this honesty. And this also could be hard work too, but I'm going to put it under honesty for now. And then I'm going to select my source. So my source came from, I believe it was, let me double check. Yeah, it was this one right here. Okay, and then I'm going to choose one of these two. Guys, don't do both of these, just do one or the other. So this is going to be my concrete detail. Either I do a direct quote or I do a paraphrase. Now, if you've seen our other tutorial videos, you know the differences between the two. A direct quote is a fact that I take word for word from another site, and I just put it right in here, and I put quotation marks around it. It doesn't necessarily mean something that somebody says, like dialogue. It's just something I take word for word. So I can do a direct quote or I can do a paraphrase, and your paper should have a mix of the two. So I'm going to put this in my own words, being careful not to paraphrase. And the way that I do this is I typically read what I want to put in there, and then I close it out, and then I write it down from memory, and then I go back and I check and make sure that I've changed enough. So let me go back and reread what I've put. Okay. Took him 15 years, he paid off his debt in full, he earned his nickname Honest Abe. So I'm going to do more than just change a couple words around. I'm going to change the whole sentence structure of this fact here so that I'm making sure that I don't plagiarize on accident. So I'm going to say, Lincoln shows his honesty through the hard work that he dedicated to paying off his debts, therefore granting him the name Honest Abe. Okay, so there is my fact. Now I'm going to do my commentary. So my commentary is going to be like in language arts classes that you've learned. This is your concrete detail. Now, how does this support my thesis? How does this show honesty? Okay, so I can say, many people may try to escape their debt, but Lincoln exemplifies his honesty by tackling it and taking care of his responsibilities. Now I can change this later. It's just kind of my initial thoughts. And then I can have all sorts of fun. I can organize my facts here. So I can put them in groups if I want to. I'd have to create the group first, which you can, I'll show you how to do in just a second. For those of you guys who like Twitter, this is sort of like a hashtag. You can tag this note so that it'll be organized later. Of course, it won't show up on your Twitter account because I know that would be awkward. So I can say this tag is about honesty, or this is about debt. And then I can go all sorts of crazy, and I can color code it if I want, and then I click Save Note, and look, there is my fact right there that I can drag around. So that is one fact that I've found here. Now you notice over here you have this visualize. It says visualize right here, and then it says list. So I can actually look at my note in a different way. When I click list, it'll show me my paraphrase, my comment, my source, etc. Now, looking at this fact right here, if I were to put this in my paper, looking at this citation, what would I put in the parentheses after this fact? Looking right here, I would put the author's last name. So I could even, if I wanted to just remind myself here, I could go back in here and I could put Aber in parentheses, period, and then I'm good. Okay, and that's how I would put it in my paper. So now I have one fact. Okay, I'm going to go to another source and I'm going to find another fact. Okay, so I'm going to give this fact. This is going to show his hard work. So let me bring up another source. Okay, so I'm now on another source here, and I'm on a primary source, which is a speech directly from Abraham Lincoln. And I decided that, you know what, instead of paraphrasing something that I see here, I'm going to use a direct quotation. So I found this fact that really supports my thesis, that shows that he's patriotic. So all I really have to do here is just copy this fact. And then once I've copied it, I can go back to Easybib, and I can paste it right in here, and I'm going to change this to patriotism. And then I make sure that I choose the source that it came from, and then I don't have to paraphrase because I've done a direct quote, and then I do my commentary. This shows, this reveals, I write a sentence from me, and then I organize if I want to, and I give it a different color if I'd like, and then there is another note, okay? And so I can see this note in a list. You can also organize your notes down here. You can see them in different groups, like by tag, by source. You can see which notes don't have a source connected to it, so you can go back and connect it to a source. So pretty cool right there. So notice that once I have another note, I can even drag them together to create what we call a group. So I just drag it and drop it, and now it's in a group. So let's say I'm like, you know what, these two go together, this should be maybe one paragraph. You can think of your groups as maybe one separate paragraph. So there's one different group. So I'm going to keep on doing this with all of my sources. When I find a fact I want to use, I double click, I fill this information out, and then I save. So I'm going to pause this real quick, and I'm going to do some research for a couple hours and find some good facts to go in here until my notes are done. And then we're going to look through the outline feature. Okay, so now you can see I've collected a bunch of notes, and the way that I usually like to do it is I collect all my notes and then I organize them, but it's just kind of up to you. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to organize my notes into groups that I think go together, that help me kind of figure out which body paragraphs I should put these in. Okay, so now that I have my facts in different groups, and all I did was I named the group by clicking on it, I can again see my list over here, and I will be able to print this. But next I want to create my outline. Now, going back to the notes before I show you the outline, one other thing I want to point out is when you're taking notes, you can also highlight the text and change the formatting within that, just like you can on regular notes. Just highlight them, highlight important things that you want to remember. So all you do for an outline is you can just drag and drop. So that's your first body paragraph. And then drag and drop. So after you've dragged and you've dropped your facts into the order that you want them, when you put your cursor over the note, you can see exactly what it is and scroll down. So let's say that once you're looking at your outline, you're like, hey, you know what? This actually should go in this body paragraph. Okay, you can drag these things and rearrange them if you want. I'm going to rearrange these two. I think this quote would really go really well at the very beginning. So I'm going to put that there. So you just drag and drop how you want them to go. Okay, so you may want to view each Roman numeral as a body paragraph, and then underneath that would be your main points. And so once you have it in the order that you want it in, you have these buttons up here. You can see the full view of your notes. You can create bullets over here. There's lots of other cool features that you can do, but when you're ready to turn this in, perhaps your teacher is requiring you to turn in your notes and your outline, all you have to do is click print, and then you can print the outline, the notes with the data, the notes all together, and there you go. There's your outline. Print that out, and you are ready to start your paper now that you have all of your notes ready to go. Okay, one last feature that I wanted to show you on Easybib is once you have your notes and you have your bibliography done, a lot of you guys start your paper in school and then maybe work on it at home, and you're going back and forth, and emailing a Word document to yourself back and forth is kind of a headache. So I want to show you the paper feature. So if you go back to all projects, you have all of your projects here. I'm going to scroll down to my paper, and says president, there's my bibliography, there's my notebook. Now you see this paper right here, okay? So I'm going to click on paper, and you notice that you can create a Google document, a spreadsheet, or a presentation depending on what your final product is going to look like. So I'm going to create a document because it's going to be a paper. I'm going to create a new one, and then I'm going to grant access to this document. And once I do that, it's going to give me this blank page. So this is kind of where you can start your rough draft, right? So this is a paper. And so once you can start kind of putting your thoughts together, you have your outline in front of you, you're writing your paper, and you can go back and forth. And then once you finish, you can put it into a Word document, and then have your works cited page at the bottom. But this is just a good tool to use where you can get to it from anywhere. It saves automatically. And then when you go back to your Easybib account, once you're logged in, you can just click on paper, and it would take you right back to this screen. So you just go back to your projects page, and then you click on paper. So I'm going to go back to my projects, click on paper where it was, and it'll take you back to the work, and all of your stuff will be there. So that's a good tool to be aware of. Also, don't forget about our citation guide on the Easybib website, where you can click on student resources, and you've got step-by-step instructions on how to research. Here's a writing guide, citation guide, how to tell if you're plagiarizing, and then of course our Media Center website, under research resources, handouts and tutorials. Remember that this presentation, as well as the other Easybib presentation, a presentation on research, how to put your paper in MLA format, and all of these documents over here on the left, if you'd rather have printed instructions, those are there for you to use. So if you have any questions or need any help, just stop by the Media Center, and good luck on your research paper. Thanks.